With the killing of Charlie Kirk, and that's hard. And regardless of where you're at politically, religiously, that is nothing what we're talking about now. There's a 31-year-old that was killed that now has a wife and 2 kids that are left behind, right? And then you have September 11th. And even talk with our team about September 11th. I mean, that was 24 years ago. The majority of our team wasn't even alive when, terrorists attacked our country and thousands were killed. So it's one of those weeks that just reminds you as a coach. My heart goes out to Charlie Kirk's wife and his kids. And like I said, regardless where you're at religiously, politically, it reminds you that we live in a fallen world, and reminds you that there's a lot of darkness and wickedness out there. And for me, as a head coach, that is what I'm called to do, is to build young men to be world changers and champions in a life that definitely needs more leaders, that desperately needs people to stand up for right. And that's what I'm called to do. And even what Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive back darkness, only light can do that. And that's what we want to be as a football program. We want to be a light on a hill. Yes, we need to win football games and championships and all that. That's what every college football coach, that's their job, no question, mine included. But I believe God's called me here to develop young men to be champions in life in a world that desperately needs leaders. And so had really good conversation with our team about that stuff last week, and excited to grow them. And that's what I'm honored to do every single day, is build young men to create a tomorrow that is better than yesterday, right? And that's what we're all called to do. So with that being said, stepping into Air Force, this is a huge opponent. We've battled them year in and year out, first conference game, and we know we're always going to get their best. Have yet to ever play Air Force and not absolutely get their best. Troy Calhoun's one of the best college football coaches in the country, been there for a long time, has been successful year in and year out. He's had a lot of really good continuity on their staff because of that, and we know we're going to get their absolute best. They're really hard to play at home, too. I know it's going to be a packed-out house, so, I can't say enough good things about Air Force and enough respect for Troy Calhoun and what he's been able to do. Obviously, offensively, Mike Thiessen's done, I think he's one of the best offensive minds in college football. Even seeing them evolve. Obviously, you have the triple option attack. Then they've got some different downhill gap schemes. They got perimeter schemes. They got a play action scheme that's really hard to defend. So they will always put you in conflict offensively. And that's honestly what I respect so much about this offense. They're not just calling plays. They're calling to attack you. And defensively, we have to do a great job playing with great discipline. We got to make sure we do our job consistently, because the second you don't, it's not going to be a 3-yard gain. It's going to be a touchdown. And that's what they've shown. They've shown to be very, very explosive year in and year out. And so we know our hands are full for us defensively, and that correlates their entire game. Defensively, they're going to be extremely sound. They do a really good job. They've got good personnel, and they're not going to beat themselves. They're going to find ways to create negative plays to get you behind the sticks. They do a good job taking the ball away, and they're going to be very, very sound. Got a lot of respect for what they do defensively, and no different special teams wise. They're gonna be right. They're not gonna make stupid mistakes. That's not what Air Force does. And I got the utmost respect for how they play this game. And so we know in all 3 phases they're going to be on the attack, and we've got to find a way to be on the attack in all 3 phases as well. We got to find a way to win the game. Personnel-wise, they've got a lot of really good players. They got a good group of guys coming back from last year. I think their offensive line, it was one of the best offensive line units we'll see all season. I think 21 offensively is an absolute matchup nightmare. And so, across the board, they're going to have guys that we got to be able to defend. And then defensively, like I said, across the board, just a very sound group. And they're going to find ways to put us in conflict offensively and get us behind the chain. So we got our work cut out for us. Really excited to get into conference play. And we're on the road. Obviously, the first game we had in the season was on the road. We didn't handle that right. So excited for us to get another shot to go on the road and find a way to win against a really, really good conference opponent. So last week was good for our team. Through 2, it's really kind of funky having a bye week after 2 games. We had it last year, but still continuing to figure out more and more about our team, right? I love this team. I love our leaders. But just because you love someone, I obviously want them to continue to grow. I love my kids, but I don't want my 3-year-old to stay the same way. If she did, that ain't good, right? So I love our team. I love our leaders, but we still have a lot of growth that needs to happen. And I think we took steps last week. We had good practices. We had a lot of self-scout to get cleaned up from game 1, game 2, and we just got to grow fundamentally and technically. We were able to get a little bit into Air Force last week, but obviously into game week now, we're going to be full steam ahead onto them. And we know it's a huge, huge opponent that's waiting for us in Colorado Springs Saturday night. So excited what we did last week. Got a lot of things we needed to continue to fix and grow in. We had some guys banged up from the Eastern Washington game that we need to get healthy. And so excited to jump into conference play this week.
Specifically, what were the priorities and where did you see growth last week?
Yeah, Mike, I think the only way to grow is to learn, right? And we learned a lot game one. Now, we have to then put that into action, right? So I'm not going to continually bring up South Florida or even Eastern Washington, but there were lessons in those games that we have to continue to learn. Once again, effort and mentality, non-negotiable here. How hard you play and physically imposing your will, non-negotiable. Just because South Florida was, whatever it is now, 3 weeks ago, doesn't mean that lesson's not something that we have to learn. Does that make sense, Mike? And so that's really the things that I went into last week knowing we have to continue to build that part of our team. We have to respond better to adversity. That showed up even in both games. How do we respond? Okay, what happened? Fix it, flush it, next play. We got to move on and go because elite teams respond to adversity. There's going to be adversity on Saturday night on both sides. I mean, Air Force is going to make their plays. They're going to have big-time moments in the game. Who's going to respond to adversity the best way on Saturday night? Championship teams know how to do that. And so we need to, those are things we need to grow in this week. Obviously, tackling is a huge part we need to continue to fix. Ball security, being efficient on offense. We got to do a much better job in our return units, special teams-wise. We got to be consistent kicking PATs and field goals. That competition was turned up. So there's a lot of stuff we got to work on through 2 games.
What are your thoughts on the new injury report? I mean, obviously, teams are going to know more about you, but on the flip side, you're going to know more about them.
Yeah, I think it just creates, streamlined communication to where there's a lot less smoke and mirrors. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's good for our sport.
Questionable can mean a lot of things, though. I mean,
Correct.
I think guys are going to take that. I mean, how's that going to play out?
I'm sure, just like anything, BJ, there's going to be guys that try and bend the rules, for lack of better words. We're going to do it right. If we're on the fence about somebody playing, it's going to be questionable. If we know the young man's not going to play, he's going to be out. And we're going to do things the right way.
With Air Force, I mean, I know some of it was because they were losing to Utah State, but they've got 32 pass attempts in 2 games. I mean, what are you seeing? I mean, some of those receivers were making some pretty nice catches.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I think sometimes maybe a fan's perspective is triple option means they're going to run the ball every single play, which obviously they do a very, very good job running the football. But quarterback-wise and receiver-wise, they're talented. Their offensive line is one of the best offensive line units I think they've had in a long time. And so, I mean, they're going to be explosive passing the football. Now, I think the Utah State game, especially in the fourth quarter, maybe throws off some of those things. But the second you start losing your eyes and you start just running down to stop the run, they will be extremely explosive throwing the football. And even in the Utah State game, you see it. Utah State knows they're going to throw the football. Air Force throws the football and is explosive doing it. So, like I said, I think the world of Mike Thies and Trey Calhoun, what they do offensively. I mean, they're always evolving, finding new wrinkles and ways to attack a defense. And we know they're going to have their stuff for us. I don't know what that is, but they're going to have their package to attack us.
You use 2 quarterbacks. What are the biggest differences between the 2?
Yeah, I think 11 and 9 both have really good skill sets. And both do things better than the other. I mean, I think number 11, I mean, you see some of the throws he made in that game. There's some big-time throws. I mean, and he is ripping it. He runs the ball really well. Obviously, in the triple option offense, you have to. I think number 9 runs the ball really well, too, and can throw it. So what they're going to do, I'm sure we'll probably see both. I don't know what they're going through, Trey Calhoun, like I said, I think the world of, but I'm sure we'll see both. Both can run that offense at a high level, and I'm sure we're going to see both of them on Saturday night.
This a couple times this year, but just the last scheduled meeting against Air Force. I mean, I know it hasn't been a long history, but you've had some great games the last 2 decades or whatever. Just
man.
With realignment and stuff, what do you make of this being the last game against Air Force?
Yeah, BJ. I mean, you look at. I mean, and I'm going to talk with our team because I mean, I talked to. I mean, even with our squad now, I mean, there's only a handful of guys that have ever started against Air Force. Right? Didn't play them last year. Had some seniors that have graduated. So on and so forth. So I'm gonna talk to them about the history of this game. Right, we've played them a year. I mean, this is, I think, the 8th time I've played them. And so looking at, I mean, how many times where, Boise State's going to go play in the championship, lose to Air Force, don't make it, right? I mean, it's been a great back-and-forth game. And, I mean, back in 2021, beat us on the blue, right? I mean, there's been just really, really good games back and forth. And so, I mean, like I said, it's a hard game to play. I got a lot of respect for what they do. I'm sure we'll find a way through scheduling at some point to see him here in the future at some point, but especially changing conferences is not going to be in the near future. And so, and right now for us, I don't get into too much of that with our team, BJ. Like, this is the last time. I mean, last year it wasn't like this is the last time we're playing Wyoming. It was like we're playing Wyoming now, and we're going to focus on that. No different for our team. We're playing Air Force now, and get your mind right.
For people that don't know, what makes the triple option so difficult to scheme against defensively?
Yeah, first off, they put you in conflict, right? Because the triple option attack, you've got to tackle the dive, you have the quarterback running threat, and then you have the pitch, right? That's where the triple comes into effect. But off of it, that is a part of what they do for sure, and that's hard to practice first and foremost. That's scout team's got to be on point, but I don't care what scout team you have. It's not going to be at the speed and the physicality that Air Force is going to run it with. But they have so many good answers off of it. So many different run schemes, pass schemes, reverses. I mean, if you overplay a run, you're getting reverse out the backside. They got double passes. So they put you in conflict. And the second you don't have great eye control, the second you're not fitting exactly where you should be, it is going to be an explosive for them. They're not going to miss that. I've never seen Air Force ever like, oh, they should have came back to that play, and they never did. They're coming back to it. You watch the game on Saturday night. If they get an explosive play, you will see it real soon because they know how they're going to attack you. They're going to attack you until you fix it. And that's why I told our defensive staff, like, this is the game that we got to make sure we have answers. We got to make sure, and the physical fight is not just the defensive line, which that is an absolute bloodbath inside, for sure. But it's physicality, the whole 53 and a third, right? It's a big corner game. Our corner's got to be ready to come up and tackle or it ain't going to work, right? And no different offensively. We got to find a way to make sure that we are efficient offensively, that we continue to score points, right? I mean, that's team football. And we got to make sure on special teams that we change the game on special teams. We don't get the game changed against us, which really has happened today.
We saw Chris be pretty good after the catch against Eastern Washington. I know you guys do everything you can to simulate game speed, but also game speed is just game speed. So as he gets more game reps, how much better do you think he will even be?
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. I mean, Chris has grown so much this year, so proud of what he's done to date. I'm proud of how he practiced last week. Game reps are gold. And so the more game reps he gets, I think he's even going to play faster and even be more explosive as long as he can continue to be consistent with his rehab, how he practices, how he preps.
Field goal kicking. I mean, you can't go into games saying, well, we might just use 2 kickers to kick field goals. I mean, that's not good recipe.
Yeah, but
you did that last week. I see Boomer still listed as your starter despite Kanan Moore. How are you guys working out place kicker?
Yeah. Johnny, that was a huge competition last week. So we brought the whole team up on the hashes, and we're going to chart it and grade it and see kind of who our best guys are. Right now it is still Boomer, but we're going to compete this week because we have to be consistent. Kicking PATs and field goals. Have to. I mean, and I'm not alone. That's not different at Boise State than somewhere else. Like, we have to be consistent doing that. We haven't been. And so it's my job to make sure. And I believe in our kickers. I believe in them. I know we have what it takes. And so I got to make sure they're going out there and playing free. And that's been a big push this past week.
Are you saying that it still could change by Saturday? Or?
Might. Absolutely. I mean, we're gonna go out there tomorrow, Tuesday practice, compete and chart too, BJ. So last week they all did a good job. I think Boomer, like I said, is still in the lead and is our starter. But we're going to continue to go compete Tuesday and Wednesday practice too, BJ.
Why did you make the switch as quick as you did maybe
Yeah.
in the last game?
Game reps is all you got, right? I mean, like we talked about even with Chris Marshall, those are gold. So in a situation, especially like, Eastern Washington, we were in a situation where the game was going well for us. I wanted to see who performed in some of those stressful situations. I wanted to see how our true freshman Kanan Moore, what would he do, right? You can say what someone would do, but I relate it no different to golf. I think, and I can't, but some guys can go out to that driving range when no one's around them and just smoke the ball. The second that they're playing and there's a little bit of heat on them, they start shanking stuff. So I relate kicking to that. I'm not a kicker. I don't pretend to be elite in that space. But I want our guys to be – I want to make sure the stress in practice is close to a game. But when I got opportunities in a game to get guys looks, especially when we missed a PAT, missed a field goal, I'm gonna give some other guys a situation to compete.
Where's Weiser in the competition then?
He did a good job in practice too. I mean, he's a part. All three of those guys are competing right now. Jarrett came in on kickoff and kicked, I think, 2 touchbacks. So it's all 3 of them competing right now.
You mentioned offensive efficiency twice. Where do you want to be tighter? Where do you want to be better?
Yeah, Mike, we have to be efficient on first down. What I mean by that is that's getting 4 yards or more, right? If we're playing 2nd and 6, that's a really good spot for our offense. Obviously, everybody wants the explosive 75-yard touchdown. Me too. But we just got to be more efficient. We can't, especially game 1. We did better game 2, but we can't be playing 2nd and 11, and a lot of it comes from pre-snap penalties too. You're starting behind the chains. That's not going to help. So we just got to be efficient. And building into our players, that doesn't always mean the explosive play. The explosive play is coming if you make the plays you should make. It's okay to fall forward and play 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. We're good there. We just got to be efficient. We can't create self-inflicted negatives.
More about Chris and then maybe a broader wide receiver group overall, but what do you think about his block on Sire's run?
Awesome.
And then just the overall effort of that group against
Yeah,
Eastern Washington?
I was so proud. I mean, that first run, that mentality run to start the game against Eastern Washington, and you see number 5, Chris Marshall, with a huge block on the safety. That's team. And that's why I showed that clip. Like, guys, that is team. Not me. That is team. When our O-line's knocking the dog out of someone in front of them, you got your receiver blocking downfield, you got your running back breaking tackle. That's team. We need more of that. We need a lot more of that in all 3 phases to become the championship team I believe we can be. If it becomes me where it's like, well, I'm not going to make that block because I haven't gotten the ball, or those things start creeping in, we're not going to be successful. And so really exciting to see those plays in the last game we played. We need a lot more of that, though.
Jaden Mickey, how much have you seen just the way he played? How much have you seen that fire him up this last week?
Yeah, man, I'm really proud of how Jaden Mickey played game 2. With his urgency, his consistency. There's still some stuff on film. There's a couple different coverage reps that we got to clean up technique-wise. But I like his mentality. I like how he comes to work every day. I love how he preps. Very, very smart football player. I mean, he understands defensive play. He understands adjustments. He understands leverage. And he had a really good week of practice last week. And Devon Banks, guys, is not completely out of this, man. I got to continue to grow him. I know his heart is for this team. His heart is to become the best version of himself, and I believe he's going to continue to grow. But Jaden Mickey's played really well, and he's earned that right.
When you recruited him out of the portal, what was kind of the biggest things you learned about him?
Yeah, I remember we recruited him out of high school, and so I got to know him really well coming out of high school, and then obviously getting back to know him when he was in the portal, leaving Notre Dame. And he's a phenomenal young man. I mean, and I say that a lot about our guys because I believe that is our team, and loves football, about the team, not about what can you do for me? How can I come help the team? I want to join a team where I can have a huge impact, and especially not early enrolling because he graduated. I mean, when you enroll in the summertime, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. It's coming on you quick, and he did a great job through fall camp and obviously started game 2 and did a great job.
How's Breezy's health coming along?
He's little by little. I don't know when Breezy's going to be back, hopefully here soon. But right now, he was not able to practice last week.
With Dylan Riley, I mean, I know he's kind of 3rd on the depth chart, and some of his carries have come in, I don't know if say mop-up duty, but just maybe not when the game's on the line. But how do you kind of weigh what he's doing? And he's your leading rusher through 2 games. I mean, how do you keep finding ways to get him the ball?
Yeah, Beej. I mean, Dylan Riley, I start crying talking about him because he's just what he's been through. And not just what he's been through, but, guys, he has been unwavering with his team. And to your point, BJ, I'm sure there might be moments where he's like, man, I'm the 3rd running back, but I'm doing a really good job. I've never felt that one bit from him. Hey, coach, how many times has he come in my office and asked for more carries? Never. Now, he's an elite competitor. You better believe he wants to be a starter and be that's who he is. But he is a team-first guy. And we're going to continue to give him more carries because he's earned it. I mean, regardless when he's gotten his reps in the game. He's been very explosive when he's touched the ball. He's broken tackles. And the team is all about Dylan Riley. So him, Sire Gaines, Malik Sherrod, I mean, we got to continue as an offense to figure out how we're going to work this out in a good way.
Very few of us kind of know what he's went through and what he's been going through.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you kind of put that in perspective, just what he's dealt with and how he's been able to kind of, still do what he's done on the field?
Yeah. I mean, by the grace of God, I have not lost my dad. I don't know what that's even. I can't even begin to understand what that would feel like. I mean, me and my dad are very close. My dad is 79, and he's a huge part of my life. And Dylan's dad, Willie, phenomenal man. He did a great job with Dylan. And when you lose your dad, regardless, suddenly, disease, regardless, his dad is not here anymore. and seeing Dylan and his family, his mom's a rock star, like, that's hard. I can't even imagine the pain, the sorrow, the grief that he went through this summer and continue to. I mean, I remember his dad had tickets to go to every game. He ain't there. Can't imagine. Can't imagine. And seeing him unwaver as a team, never been late to anything, hasn't taken practice off because of anything. And I would be if he said, Coach, I can't practice, I'd be like, I get it, brother. Never once. Didn't miss a workout, right? Obviously took time when it first happened to go home and be with his family. But since he's been back, I had the utmost. I did even prior to, because he's a phenomenal kid, but I have the utmost respect for that young man and support him through the roof.
How have you seen his teammates? Kind of
Oh, man. I mean, that's where, like I said last week, when I asked Maddox, what was your favorite part of the game? What brought you the most joy from this past game? He said Dylan Riley's touchdown, because his team sees what he's been through and how he was unwavering to be about the team and how he practiced during fall camp, got banged up, didn't miss a practice. I mean, that is uncommon. Uncommon. Guy's about the team, and his future is so bright here, but his future is so bright in this life. Like, that young man is a world changer, like we talked about to start this press conference, in a world that needs more Dylan Rileys.
Where did Nate Potter improve most for you, game 1 to game 2, with his play calling and his rhythm?
Yeah. I think just like anything, players, coaches, the more reps you get, the better you become. As long as you can continue to learn and grow, right, Johnny? So, I mean, game 1 was Coach Potter's first game as an offensive coordinator. And just like anything, losses, not playing well, get put on coaches or players. But there's a lot more to the story, right? And there were some things for sure, game 1, we had to be better at offensively. And we grew a lot from game 1 to game 2. I believe Coach Potter continues to understand fully who we are as an offense, right? We are going to run the football offensively. Period. End of story. We are going to have play action shots off of these runs, and we're going to be a drop back team in that order, right? That's who we are. That's who we're built for, and continuing to build that into our team and not losing the effort and mentality that you play with, right? Anybody can sit on this whiteboard and drop really cool offensive plays. Oh, look at this really cool motion. But what comes to life is the effort and the physicality you bring to it. Like, that's it. And I think the world of Coach Potter, like I said, he's one of the best offensive minds, teachers in the country. Yes, did we play good offensively game 1? Absolutely we didn't. And I take full responsibility. As I know Nate and the rest of our offensive staff does. Grew to game 2, and I know we're even going to grow more into game 3.
That's right. Yeah, you said the week early bye is a little awkward. I know you're all about having the best plan to prepare for everything, though. So off days are valuable. What did you want to see out of your guys, to maybe take advantage of an off day or two?
Yeah, I believe life is all about balance. And we had some really good practices last week, some good weight room sessions, some good meetings to look at games 1 and 2 and how we can improve. And then, go out on the practice field and do it. But then this past weekend, I had them have the weekend off. Like, guys, go spend time with your family. If you're not going home, you're here. Enjoy Boise. Watch some football. I had them this morning. I met with our leadership. What are some things you saw watching college football? Like, what are some things that came up? I believe in balance. I believe in balance for these young men. I believe I want them to have a lot of joy playing this game. Not, all right, we're back to football. No, man, enjoy every bit of being a part of this team. Enjoy every bit of coming in this building. And I felt that today from you. You had a couple days off. It's like, man, Coach, can't wait to be around you again. And that's bringing that into, especially, I think we got 7 or 8 games in a row. I got to find a way to make sure we create that even on this 8-game stretch.
So nobody assumed their seat was here for them when they got back?
Correct. I can promise you that, yes.
I know you had a lot of different games to watch, Air Force, whatever, but did you watch the end of the Notre Dame game?
I did,
just
yeah.
Thinking about you in that stadium in a couple weeks? Or?
I did, man. I was able to watch. That's right around bedtime for little Rosie and Eleanor, so that's all hands on deck. But was able to watch a little bit of the end of that game, which was a crazy ending, 4th and goal, touchdown. Thank the world of Notre Dame. Excited to play them when we get to that point. Was able to watch the Georgia Tech Clemson game. What other games? Well, I watched obviously the Utah State Air Force game. Watched a little bit of the Minnesota Cal game. But I usually catch about 3 minutes, and then I got to go outside. No, get to go outside and watch them ride bikes and colored chalk. And so it's a blessing, though, man. Especially as a coach, like I don't know the next time that I'm going to get a day off like that with our kids, right? So I got to be really intentional. My wife, Rachel, does a phenomenal job. It was awesome to be able to go to church yesterday, just get time with our family. I'm excited to be back at it.
Effort and mentality, you obviously preach that. It's non-negotiable here. How much have you seen that continue to grow during the bye week too?
I am proud of how we've grown that to this point. Are we where we need to be with our effort and our mentality? I'm crazy to say we are, but I really believe that our guys understand why it matters, right? To your point, Mike, learning from game one. Like, I don't need to tell them, hey guys, if you don't play hard and you don't play with mentality, it's going to hurt you if we're just blowing teams out. Well, we got punched in the mouth game one, and there's some points even game two that we didn't play our best. So that is the foundation we build everything on, is how hard we play and if we can physically impose our will in all three phases. That's us. And the second we lose that, we have nothing here. And so making sure our players see that, and you do that in practice. And I think we did a good job last week in practice. Now we got to continue to follow it up this week.
You guys are 28-1 over the last 29 bye weeks. You haven't been around for all of those, but is there a blueprint, a system, like how the program does that well, coming off getting an extra week for an opponent?
Yeah. Good question, Johnny. I don't know. I did not know that's a crazy stat. I did not know that. I think each week's a new week. I think every your team grows, has to continue to grow as the season progresses. I mean, you look at college football, there's going to be teams right now that are ranked in the top 25, and then in 3 weeks are not. And then teams that aren't ranked will be ranked, right? Because it's the ebb and flow of a season, the ebb and flow, especially when you get into conference play. So for us in a bye week, what I believe in, and I'm not saying this is the perfect plan, I believe in making sure you self-scout yourself. Like, what are we calling? Why are we using it? What are some fundamentals, techniques we're missing? And then having a really good conversation about our personnel. Are we using our best players? Or is there a player somewhere that has practiced really well and we just missed him? I don't think we did, but let's go through every single name of our team. Like, who are they in the right spot? And so really take time to do that. And then obviously getting a jump on the opponent you're going to see. Thanks, Bells. Thank you.
Spencer talked a lot about self-scout. I know you're not going to tell us what you found, but what were some of the key elements in why was it smart of you guys to be able to self-scout at this point in the year?
I think it's always good to go back and see what you're executing well, what you're not, and then finding out the reasons why. Why is it good? Why is it not good? How can we make it better? And then what are we putting out there on tape that we need to be aware of? So always take advantage of any type of bye week, but that was a huge part of it for us.
Nate, how much did you feel like you were kind of in a rhythm or on the attack on offense and kind of doing, what Spence says is kind of the staple of what you guys want to do on offense against Eastern?
Yeah, I think it was a step in the right direction, kind of what we've talked about before as our emphasis as far as the finish, the physicality, being efficient on first down. When we do those things, it makes it easy to get in a rhythm as an offense, as a coordinator. So that's still the emphasis moving forward this week, but that's who we are. We got to be able to establish the run and then be explosive.
It's the fifth time since you guys been at the FBS level that you threw for 300 and rushed for 300. How big of an accomplishment is that in a given game?
Yeah, you can't take it for granted. Football's difficult no matter what you do, so you can't take it for granted. I'm just proud of the guys and how they responded, how they got better in the last 2 weeks, and they had a good time doing it. The energy was on the sideline, on the field throughout the entire game, so we need to continue to show that passion and play with that type of energy.
You
It's 2 games as OC. Just even in those 2 games, is there anything you've picked up, you've learned, anything that's stuck out to you?
Oh man, there's probably a million things, to be honest. I've learned a lot in those 2 games. A lot about, us, who our players are, who our team is, and how do we operate, and what are we good at, and what do I need to improve upon. I mean, there's a million details I can sit here for an hour giving you, but always trying to reflect and figure out how do I get better as a coach, no matter the circumstance.
Chris, I'm sure that game was a long time coming. As a coach, just how much joy does that bring you to just see a guy who's been through so much be able to?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, loved every second of it. I'm excited about him, and he got the opportunity, he showed what he's capable of doing, and I'm excited about what he's going to do moving forward. I think we are all aware of the talent that Chris is, and now he's putting it on film, and that's the most important thing. So I'm extremely proud of him, excited for what's next, but he deserves it because he's been putting in the work.
A lot of people talk about Air Force's offense, but their defense does some unique things, and I think they have 9 sacks already through 2 games. What are you seeing from their defense?
Yeah, I mean, historically, year in and year out, they're an excellent defense, and there's no difference this year. They're very sound, they're very disciplined, they're extremely tough, they're physical up front, and they do a lot of good things schematically to take away what you do best. So it is an extreme challenge, and that's part of the game going and playing Air Force. You know what it's going to be.
Trying to stay in a rhythm offensively when you're sitting longer maybe sometimes when they have the longer possessions and stuff. I know previous Boise State teams at times that's been an issue. I mean, how do you just keep that rhythm going, and also knowing that you may get the ball a couple less times? Obviously, there's some urgency when you do have it.
Yeah, it's executing. You have to execute. You can't get behind the chains. You can't force things. It's taking advantage of each opportunity and executing what you're doing. You got to be very detailed as an offense when you're playing these guys, because you only have so many opportunities, so many possessions. So you got to take advantage of it. But the big thing for us is executing and then making the plays when they come to us.
What was Utah State's game plan, and how was it able to work offensively? Like, how did Utah State do what they were able to do against Air Force?
Yeah, I think kind of what I spoke about. I thought they did a great job of just being efficient, and then when they took shots, they hit their shots. They were explosive down the field. And I think that's what you got to do. I think they did a good job playing to their skill set, to their personnel. But they didn't have a ton of 3rd and longs and XLs, a ton of pre-snap penalties, all those types of things that can kill you against a great defense like this.
It might have been just coincidental, but you guys got Matt Lauder involved early against Eastern too. Was that coincidental or intentional, or?
No, it's intentional to try to get him in the flow of the game as quick as possible, knowing how talented he is. So that's always a point of emphasis for us, but just trying to find ways to get, if it's Matt or anybody else, just get our playmakers the ball, as quick as possible, just to get in the flow of a game.
Go back, maybe it's an obvious question, but how much of a playmaker can Matt be? I mean, you look at like his yards after the catch numbers. I mean, he was one of the more elusive tight ends in the country last year after the catch.
Yeah, I think he's shown that he's capable of doing it. I think there's still more in there, and I know he's hungry to keep getting better. I think there's a few plays he could have probably made that he wants to make that we're trying to improve upon that he can in the future. But I think there's still a lot there. But he does surprise people with his ability to run after the catch, and I love it. I mean, that's always the goal for any tight end is don't get tackled by the first guy.
Your leading rusher is Dylan Riley through 2 games. I mean, I know he had the big long one, obviously, when the score was already kind of out of hand. But what have you seen from him, and how is he trying to work his way into getting more action?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of growth and maturity out of him. I think he's gotten better and better and better, and he continues to do that right now, and it's showing up. And we already know, based on what he did last year, kind of what he's capable of doing as far as the home run threat with the speed that he has in space. But it's all the little things that he's building trust with the coaching staff with as far as protection and being consistent at practice that he's doing as well. So I'm excited because that just adds depth to that room, and he deserves it because he's been working really, really hard the last year.
I know he's 3rd or whatever on the depth chart, but do you have to find more ways to get him out there?
Yeah, I think that's always evolving. It's always evolving. I think he's deserved everything he's gotten. He deserves more based on what he's shown, to your point, up to this game. So excited for where he's at.
When you guys were really able to establish the run game on that first drive, just how does that set the tone for the offensive success for the rest of the game?
Yeah, that's been the message for the last couple of weeks. Is that mentality is really what that first drive was. Is coming out, playing confident, playing fast, playing physical, and it was nothing to do with scheme or coaching. That was purely effort and mentality. So now the emphasis is how do you do that week in and week out. But that was a great example of what we're trying to build consistently within this offense.
Do you see the right tackle spot, those guys still just continuing to rotate moving forward? Would you prefer one guy kind of takes the spot there? Or we saw obviously they both played a lot in the last game.
Yeah, I think you always prefer one guy just separates himself and kind of takes over any position, but I think it's always good to have competition within a position. I think that's what we have at right tackle right now with Big Lou and Hall. I think they're pushing each other. They're both getting better, and for us, that's a good thing because that's helping them improve. And if somebody does kind of take that big step forward, then we'll adjust as we need to.
What's your relationship like with Dirk Cutter these days? He still works here and you guys bounce ideas.
Yeah.
Is there like a system you guys have?
Yeah, we kind of have a structure in place based on the day of the week. There's communication that I'll get from him. You know, he's very still involved. He's out at practice. He's around. He's getting his workout in every day. So there's plenty of time for us to communicate. And he does a good job of telling me what I need to know and being supportive when I need it. And it's been a great relationship so far.
Get back to Chris real quick. And you kind of touched on him there. You know, for a long time he was trying to prove to you guys that he could show up in practice. And now he finally gets to play on game days. But it's been a little while since he's played on game days. So it seemed like he almost got better after the catch as the game went on against Eastern. How much do you feel like, you know, the more game experience is going to help him even get even better?
Absolutely. I think he will get better. I mean, that's the goal for him, and I think it's showing up. And to your point, he just needs to keep playing and keep getting those game reps. That's how everybody really takes the next step, is to have those real life experiences in the moment, in the game, building confidence, and he's no different. So I expect him to keep getting better with those reps.
Why do you think he's so good after the catch? What makes him good after the catch?
Oh man, there's a million things that I don't have. A lot of athleticism and twitch and awareness and all those good things that you want in every skill position.
Cool, thanks, Ed.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
How much did the bye week help, defense get an extra look at the triple option?
Yeah, I think it was good. We had to do some periods with good on good, kind of regular football. Because I always think in the bye week you want to keep that speed up, and then you want to have some good blockers on good defensive linemen and back and forth, and you want the receivers to see good speed. But it was advantageous to get a little jump start on that for sure.
I know some of it was second half against Utah State. They had to throw the ball, but I mean, they got 32 pass attempts in 2 games. They had 9 in the first game, and then even 5 in the first half of the Utah State game. What are they throwing the ball a little more, or what do you see? And obviously, they had some nice throws and catches in that game too.
Yeah, I think it looks like they want to throw it a little bit more, but also kind of the situations of the games dictated that a little bit. But right now we got to be ready for both, and I think you got to always be ready for the triple option no matter what defense you play. You can't all of a sudden just decide we're going to play man and don't have a plan for triple option. So that's always got to be in the back of your head. But to your point, they have thrown the ball a little more, and I think they've attacked vertically a little bit more than years past.
Sometimes they get you because they lull you to sleep, or whatever. Or they just 10 straight runs and DBs are falling asleep and they throw it over the top. Knowing that they've passed a little more, is that maybe a little easier to keep some of those guys engaged or ready for that? Or
yeah, I think so. I think as they watch the game, they're going to kind of see, oh man, they're throwing the ball a little more. But just like you mentioned, you see it all the time. Like they threw a double pass one of the games we just watched. It might have been last year, but the corner's not even in the run fit, and he just falls asleep, and the guy takes off vertical, and they have a huge explosive play. So that's the thing. Like everybody's got a tough job in this game at some point. Sometimes those corners, now they've gotten some more condensed formation, so the corners are going to be part of the run fit in those. But when those corners are kind of out on the island, it's just got to do my job, do my job, do my job, do my job, even if it means I'm just covering that guy for nothing, 40 snaps in a row.
Why did Jaden make you play so well against Eastern?
I just think he's practiced well. He's more and more comfortable with his teammates, with the system, with the calls. He's always been a good communicator, but I think he was ready for that game, and he got his opportunity, and he took advantage of it. So I was proud of Jaden.
He kind of seems like a little bit of a character too.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that he's up here a lot. He's in the building. He's watching a lot of film, and him and Derek Ganther I think are pretty close, and they'll come in my office routinely and ask me some random question about something that doesn't even pertain to what we're doing, but they're watching some football, and it's cool to see guys, not a ton of guys anymore just watching football. They're asking questions about what happened in the NFL game, about some other college games, so it's pretty cool to watch those guys operate.
To be able to strip the ball and recover it, just what's that say about his aggressiveness?
Yeah, I think, people talk about luck a lot of times, and luck might be something, but also I think that luck is preparation meets effort meets opportunity, and I think all those things kind of worked out. Like he got a premium look, he saw it, he played it well, he was aggressive to the ball, and then that ball kind of spun and fell right where it needed to. But all those things, him just playing hard, him preparing the right way, and then having that opportunity, I think met together, and that was awesome to see.
Tackling, I'm sure you guys did more of it, getting ready for Air Force. What were your takeaways there? And did Spencer give you guys a lot of time to work on that, and maybe this week too, full-on tackling?
Yeah, he gave us a little bit more individual time than normal, and so we took one of those blocks every single day and got some tackle circuits. The front obviously is a little different than the back end and the linebackers, so they were doing some different things, but we did a lot of tackling drills over the bye week, and that will carry over into this week.
I think you guys have thought highly of Ty Benefield for a long time, but technically his position is supposed to be the farthest from the ball to snap, and he has 3 tackles for loss against Eastern. What did you see about the way that Ty played against Eastern?
No, I think Ty's a great example of what we want, effort and mentality, and it's a lot like the triple option game. Eastern Washington, they have some difficult stuff on offense. They do a really nice job. Their coaches did a really good job in some of those plays where he's just tracking his number. And once his number hits, now he knows I can just go to the ball. And when he flies to the ball, he can erase a lot of stuff. So I think it's good to see for not only him to encourage him to continue that, but the rest of the team to see, when you run to the ball, especially when your eyes are in the right place, you run to the ball, good things happen.
He's played early here at Boise State. But as he kind of finds his voice, how valuable can his voice be for your team?
It's huge. It's huge because, you can have leaders that aren't making a huge impact on the field. Like, that happens, but when they are making a huge impact on the field, people tend to listen. You know, sometimes like the guys that have been here for 4 years, they'll respect the guy that's done it the right way and works hard, even if he doesn't make a huge impact on the field. But the new guys to the program, the freshmen, those kind of things, they're like, I want to be like Buck. You know, so when they see him do those kind of things, especially those newer guys, I think that makes a huge difference for them.
I know everybody's got to be disciplined against the run and be selfless and stuff, but who are the guys, like you look at the last few times you played Air Force and your safeties have had big tackle numbers. Who are the guys that, the positions that, you know, really have to come through against the triple option?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to come through, but it's, if you're doing your job up front, you know, you're going to get an opportunity to tackle the dive a few times. But when you're, depending on how you're, you know, organizing things, if you got the front collapsing the dive, that ball is going to get kept and the quarterback's going to run it, or it's going to get pitched. So then the safeties and linebackers have to have a huge number. If you're going to dedicate more people to the perimeter, then the D-line's got to do a really good job, which we can do in different calls. So it's going to kind of depend on what the game is and how it's flowing and what personnel they're using and what style of runs they want to attack us with. But that eye control for everybody on the team is huge. Like BJ mentioned, the corners could be in it, they could be out, they could be getting lulled to sleep, and then they got to be in. But the safeties are the guys right now, the safeties and the linebackers that have to be dead on in what they're doing.
The fact that you didn't play them last year, and so you got a decent number of players that don't have many significant snaps playing them, you know, defensively, I guess. How do you know, Spencer mentioned that, at least in terms of starting numbers, but how do you look at the gap of not playing them last year and how tough it can be if you don't have a lot of experience against them?
Yeah, I think only 3 players on our defense have played Air Force before. I think Amarion, JV, and Braxton. Marco hasn't even played him. He was hurt during that spell. So it's you know, you kind of take for granted you play him every single year, and the guys are like, oh yeah, here's what I look at. It's different than regular football. My eyes got to go here, and it's like it was starting over from scratch. So the bye was huge for us. And then even up front, like, we're going back to do cut block drills, right? And some of these guys, especially the newer guys, like, they look terrible on the first day. I'm like, whoa, man, there's going to be like body parts laying on the floor if we can't get this corrected. So all the techniques, all the eye control, you take for granted when you play them every single year. You had to go back to square one.
Nervous or uneasy, or just when you know, I'm sure you'd love to have a veteran group that's all played them 4 times or whatever. I mean, when there is so much inexperience against such a unique offense, just the unknown there, I guess, does that make you a little nervous? Or
I mean, I think that, you know, the beginning of every week I'm nervous, right? Because it's a new team, but it's exciting because, like, triple option is like where you find out what kind of defense you got, right? Or can we be disciplined? Can we have our eyes right way? This is all about physicality and mentality. And then, like Jay mentioned, can we run to the ball? Because a lot of times in this deal, they're going to have some plays that are, you know, designed specifically for each defense that get you outnumbered, and somebody's going to have to run and somebody's going to have to make a big play. So excited to see what the guys will do.
What does it mean to have a communicator and brain like Marco in the middle of your defense for a week like this?
Yeah, I think Marco, he can do some things that maybe other guys are uncomfortable with. Not that they couldn't do, but he can process a ton of information. So that I think there's some things that we can give him that you couldn't give everybody. Like Tubes last year, he could process a lot as well. But I think Marco, you know, you can give him some things that we either need to get checked, or, hey, here's a look that nobody else is going to see. So your eyes are going to take you here, but we need you over there. So it's really cool to have him.
How about Trey? What can you tell us about him? Like, you go to practice, it seems like he does a lot of things, like, you know, in terms of effort or energy, right? And then he gets into a game and he has been waiting for a pick, and he gets the pick.
Yeah. No, Trey's had a ton of good plays in practice. Trey will be a really good player at Boise State. We're just working through a lot of things with Trey where, you know, it's not – if Trey's guarding his man, there's no questions. It's all the other things. Where do I fit in the run game? How do I play bunches and stacks and those kind of things? And he's doing a good job with it, but he's still growing in that aspect where it's not always, hey, number one standing out there, you go cover that guy. Because if that was it, Trey's dynamite.
I think, you know, in any game, you'd love to blow a team out so you can get some young guys in. And, you know, against Eastern, you did. So how valuable is that for him to have that moment motivate him to, you know, continue to chase more of them?
Valuable for him, valuable for all the other guys that got an opportunity to play, because we're going to need a lot of those guys sometime throughout the season. It was also very cool to watch the sideline camera and watch how the team got so juiced up when Trey got that pick. So obviously he's got some respect of his teammates. They like him. You know, that's really cool to see too, when a young guy at the end of the game makes a pick and the veteran guys are going crazy. Mad Dog's running down the sideline. Latrell is. The other DBs are going crazy. It was pretty cool.
Obviously, I've been preparing for this game, you know, all offseason in terms of your schemes and things, but I don't know if you got a chance to watch it live on Saturday night. Did you pick up anything different just from their timing or anything when you're watching the game live in terms of watching the TV tape?
I did get to watch it a little bit live, but it was my wife's birthday, so I couldn't dedicate all my vision to that. But I think they watching the game live, I think they made a few change-ups that were good, a few wrinkles in their offense, some of their personnel stuff. So that was some stuff that, that we had to get back in here and really take a look at on Sunday morning.
Are you scribbling stuff down on a notepad, or do you just kind of remember that? Or?
Yeah, I usually have my iPad sitting right there, so I have my little pencil and I kind of take notes as I'm watching some of the games. Not even just the game we're playing, but some things I might like through other games, and just go back and find those things throughout the week.
Last one. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks.